Hello, 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 incredible ones. Darnyelle here for another interview in the Incredible Factor University client interview series. I have been loving these interviews, and I hope that you have been loving them too, and that you're learning some things about yourself through the nuggets that these amazing women that I'm sharing with you are dropping, because they are definitely putting jewels down. So I'm excited, as I am every single time, because I've got another high achieving, phenomenal woman to introduce you to, who I've had the opportunity to work with, oh my gosh, over the last maybe 5 years, I think. I feel like 2013-ish was when we first met. Yeah. And it's been amazing just watching her business grow. And unlike a lot of the other businesses that I work with, Jasmine actually runs a medical billing practice management firm. So from day one, she had employees. So the challenges that she was seeing were so different than the traditional person's challenges, but our work together was even able to make a difference for her. What I love about Jasmine is, first, I love her spirit. And just look at her. She's so cute. Like, how can you not just love her? She has an amazing spirit. She is very focused on making a difference in her own business and with her own employees. She's very conscientious of that. And I think that is what it has the makings of a great CEO, right? It's not just the mindset, it's how you follow through and how you show up for your people. And so she's got this commitment to operate in excellence for her team as much as she does for her. And even as I've watched her grow and mature in lots of different ways, and she'll probably even talk about her yoga background. Like, I just saw this pose that she can do. Like, it's very impressive. I'm sure she'll talk all about that. But I'm excited to have you guys just kind of hear or kind of be the fly on the wall in our conversation as we talk about what it's been like to work together. So I would like to introduce to some and present to others the amazing, the beautiful, the talented, the comparable Jasmine Vializ. You don't go by your married name, right?
No, not yet. That's okay. a mission I haven't quite decided to tackle. Trying to figure out changing other names and things. It's a mission, right?
Yeah, it is. It takes a lot of work. Just like me, we are on this like 3-year plan of the phasing. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. Especially if you want to travel anytime soon, you've got to be in all these lines and all these applications, and then you miss a line and you can't go where you want to go.
Absolutely. Like, I changed my driver's license, and my driver's license now says Darnyelle Jervey Harmon, but my plane tickets still say Darnyelle Jervey. So I'm traveling with my passport so that they don't give me any problems and let me on the plane. Like, it's just it's crazy. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself in your own words.
Right. I am the president and CEO of Integrated Practice Solutions. We are as you said, medical billing and practice management firm. We are dedicated to improving quality of healthcare and allowing providers to be able to dedicate and devote their passions back to where it matters on their patients. I've been working with you for quite a long time now, and you've helped to really move our business forward. There's so many things that, I attribute to you, and you know this, I've told you many times, that everybody's always like, okay, that sounds good. What does Darnyelle say about that? Even my husband asks me what Darnyelle says about any new idea or some big transition or shift I want to make in the business. And so it's been just kind of transformational in my business and my life, even to have you involved, and you've helped me through some of the hardest times in my life, through my business and even through my last little person that came into the world, and trying to run a business while you have a little person and a 9-year gap between your last child. It was a bit of a mission. Yes. So it was like hitting the reset button. And so it's definitely been an amazing journey. And I'm just so grateful to always have a contact with you and be just in your circle with the team and the people that you have supporting you, and the other wonderful business owners that we have in our group. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. So she said everything right there. Now, but let's unpack some of this. So let's go back to who you were, what your business was like before we first met, before you got the magnetic marketing success formula, because I think that was the very first introduction to me. Talk a little bit about that.
All right. So just so everyone kind of has the backstory. So I had been in business. So at that time, I think about 7 years or 6 or 7 years, 2013. Yeah. So I wasn't new to the game by any means. Got past the 5-year, which was, a big accomplishment. But I definitely had unplugged a little bit from my business at the beginning. I was fired up and, ready to make it happen. And I was young and nobody could tell me any different. I was just like, I'm ready to make it in the world and do my thing. And here you go. You need us. You need to make this happen. And then for maybe like 3 or 4 years, I was really in it. And then I said, okay, well, that's good. I'm done with that. I did what I thought I needed to do. And at that time, I didn't really have a very strong understanding of, what I learned from you now, like what my 3-year and 5-year strategy and what my, kind of in game is, their plan. And, there wasn't any understanding. I just said, okay, well, I made it into 6 figures. So check, that's done. Like, I'm going to do something else now. And I continued with the business, obviously, but I started doing other things, and other people came into play and helped me kind of run the operations of the business. At that time, however, I had the very kind of basics in the business and lots of processes, but that healthcare has evolved, the industry that I'm in, right? So, and it's constantly evolving, right? And so at that time, there was a big shift to technology improvements and a lot of changes and stuff. And I really wasn't staying on the up and up, right? I wasn't kind of like keeping up with the business and continuing to see that business improve and evolve as the industry was. And so, I allowed this team to take the kind of operational reins, and I was still heavily involved with the clients, like more one-on-one, but wasn't really getting enough like what you would think of as like momentum for growth that was continuing because I wasn't really plugged in. So all of that happened, met my husband, decided, okay, like I'm going to like pull it back in. I moved from like being like this beach girl in South Florida to Washington, D.C. And I feel like, I don't know, that's like somehow I had to be like this back, put my like professional girl suit on and be like a professional again. And so I was like, all right, now I need to like get back into my business and get this back under control, because even though operations were going smoothly or okay, I wasn't growing. And I think you always say this, that if you're not growing, you're dying. There really isn't like an in-between. Right. And so you have to be kind of always focusing on business development and engaged in your business growth. And I was definitely not. So I said, okay, well, I started searching and I found you. And I think I don't know what, maybe on a podcast or something at first. And I just loved your delivery and how you spoke and how, you were just real. Like from day one, I was like, okay, like that hurt a little bit, but I like her. Like, like that's real though. And so, I started consuming like everything that you had out there. I was watching videos and I was like, all right, this is, like I'm all over the place because like one video is about this and the other video is about that. So it's like I need to like put some order to this madness. And yeah, I bought the Magnetic Marketing Success Formula, and just like anything, you're like, okay, this is so great, this is so much, I'm so ready. And then I was like okay, I listened to it all, but I didn't really like implement. And I think part of that is like the reason why we need a coach is really to help us like really like hone in and say, okay, like, well, what are you really working on right now? like right this minute, what are you going to do to move the needle, in the business, or to move things forward in whatever initiative that you're trying to implement? And so that was the kind of like the moment that I realized after consuming all this stuff. I think I listened to like maybe more than half of the CDs, and I'm like, all right, I haven't really done anything. I'm just going to listen to all of them. And then like, luckily you were like really great with like checking in with me. Like, hey, what's happening? Like, what are we doing? And then I made it to Breakthrough. I think the next year.
Yeah, it was Unleash at the time, but yeah, it was Unleash.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You're right. Yes. Yeah. Unleash. Thank you. And I remember like that when I went to Unleash, I was Noah, was it like in May or something?
Mm-hmm. It was in May. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, cause my boy was only like 4 months old. And I was like, yeah, I was pumping in between your sessions. I was like running off to the bathroom pumping. And there was this crazy stuff happening in my business at the time that was like really challenging, that the team members that I had put in place that were running operations and really not kind of like plugged into like growth and stuff. There was like a lot of stuff happening for him. It was a gentleman, and and personally, and nothing bad or good. It was just reality was he was deciding that it really wasn't going to be an industry that he wanted to be engaged in full time. Unfortunately, that happened like kind of after he checked out, like that I found out that he was a little checked out of the business. And, you know, like my team members were telling me, oh, he fell asleep at work. There was like all kinds of like crazy stuff happening. So I was like, all right, so clearly there's something here that, you know, like my core person or, you know, people, one of them were not going to be really involved. And so I was like, all right, at the conference, I'm having calls from clients and having all these things, and I'm pumping in the bathroom, and I'm like so stressed. And I just remember like one day I'm going to get out of this like place that I feel, this discomfort. And, you know, I'm thinking like I have, you know, my crazy like kind of holistic thing. Like, I'm like, okay, I have all this stress, and all this stress is going to be communicated to my baby. And like, because I'm pumping, and there was all that, you know, so like that stress. I remember crying in the bathroom, like not just from, you know, the pain of pumping, but really because I was like, this sucks. Like, I want to get past this place. And, you know, it feels like I remember the sensations, but it feels like a lifetime ago when I talk about it now. Like,
yeah, but I think it's important. I mean, you said a lot of really powerful things in there. Like, and I think anyone who's honest about their business will get to the point where they are questioning everything and they hate it. Like, can I keep it real with you? I had the time when I hated my business. I was like, okay, I don't know who created this, but we need to blow this monkey up. Like, exactly. I hate it. It was pulling on me in every way. It was taking over my life. It wasn't fun. I didn't enjoy it. And I was making good money, but all the money didn't make it worth it, because money isn't everything.
Right.
You know, I know profit is how we keep scoring business, but it's not everything. And I had to figure out how to turn the train around and how to kill the monster, because it had become a monster. And I can remember in a lot of our early coaching, working through that and getting clear about the hiring process and what, you know, what questions you need to ask and what you need to say and what you need to be looking for and all of that kind of stuff. So, so from there, we started working together, and just talk a little bit about what came out of us working together.
So, I mean, literally within, so I think I don't know if I signed up right after or soon after Unleash as a client, and literally within like, I don't know, the first 6 months or so, it had maybe even less than that, we ended up like doubling over in growth. And some of that was very uncomfortable for me, because some of it was like involved me making changes that I never made. Like, keep in mind, like, I had been in business for 7 years and I had never raised my prices, like,
right,
ever. Like, ever. And truly, like, in all transparency, like, I had no idea how I was pricing. Like, I just was like, okay, like, did a little bit of market research and said, okay, this is a great starting point. And I did that at the beginning of my business 7 years ago, and said, okay, this percentage works. And someone would come to me and the doctor would be like, oh, you know, this and that, woe is me, life is hard, my practice is struggling, whatever, I need your help. Can you instead give me that for 50% of what you were charging? And oh, okay, sure. Instead of me thinking about it and saying, I really want to help you, and you definitely have this, you know, a need, and recognizing the truth in that is I can help. Right. But there is a cost associated with that. And instead of me deciding that, you know, our expertise and knowledge is worth it, I would discount whenever. and so, you know, and there's without cause, I would be the first to offer a discount without even, like, they didn't even mention discount. I'm like, oh, but today I could give it to you for this, or no sign up cost or nothing, even though I knew it was going to cost me a bunch of money to get things set up. So, right, you know, a lot of things that didn't make sense that, you know, you knew right off the bat, I think, just because of the way. So I had to fill out the enrollment, and I think I got stuck on the price because like you had this whole section about pricing. Mm-hmm. and my explanation was so long. It took me the longest time to answer those, like, that page or page and a half of stuff, because I couldn't really figure out how to explain how I priced, because there was no method to it. So I remember getting on the phone and, like, you know, we started talking about, well, why don't we do this? Well, why don't we do that? Because I was operating only on a retainer basis. I'm sorry, only on a commission basis, and it was delayed commission. And it was only like, at that time, I don't know if I was doing ACHs, but I wasn't requiring ACHs. There was all these things. So like, basically I would have to front load all this money for payroll, for resources and vendors and so on. And then hope and pray that the clients came through and paid their bills on time, and in some cases it didn't. And then I was like physically running to offices. Like there was a time in our business that literally like 90% of our payments, we were running to offices of our clients to pick up our checks. Like then that was a part of our month end process. It was like, you know, how are we going to get to like 17 places in a day and a half or whatever? Like it was crazy. It was so crazy. So all that stuff, when we started working together, it was like, okay, Jasmine, you need to just stop what you're doing. You need to do this right now. And like today, you need to write down that how much you're going to charge for this retainer and what it's going to be when they start paying, and do your ACH form and write it in the contract that it's in a requirement. And I mean, literally, I think just that alone probably was accounted for more than half of the growth, just from the clients that I already had, and that were really happy to like move along with the business. So thankfully at that time, there wasn't anyone that like had any sort of resistance or anything. They'd been with us for so long, and I was like, okay.
But I think it's also because they knew the value that you brought to the table. So like those of you who are listening to this, I want you to catch this. Like 9 times out of 10, you aren't priced right. And if you are doing what I know you're doing, which is you're doing an amazing bang up job for your clients, they love you. They're every month, like to themselves, they're shaking their head like, I can't believe I get all of this for this. That's what they're saying. So when you finally rise up and step into the highest version of yourself, whether it's on your own or through the help of someone like me, a coach, they're not going to balk because they know they've been getting over all along. They knew it. They were waiting for the shoe to drop, because it was too good to be true, because you're amazing at what it is that you do. And part of the role that I play and why we do the assessments in the beginning, I mean, it's 7 parts, there's over 200 questions. Most people take that assessment and say that was worth the investment. Just seeing all the things I didn't even know to consider in my business, that was totally worth it. But we use that assessment. It's our way of doing an autopsy on your business to see where the problems are, so that we can come in and we can quickly plug the holes that are going to make a difference in your revenue, so that we get you to be able to breathe as quickly as possible. And that's what happened to Jasmine. And like she just said, like just that systems around the money management and the financial processes and our pricing made a substantial difference to the business's bottom line. And that's so important that you do that, because unfortunately, most small business owners and entrepreneurs, they pull prices out of their woo-ha. You guys all know what I mean when I say that. Or they look at someone in their industries and they make their prices in line with theirs. And the problem with that is you have no idea why they chose those prices or if they're right. And you're basing your business's livelihood on that. And so that's probably usually the first place that we look if we're trying to make sure that the revenues are where they need to be. What else? Like, what were some of the life change differences that came out? So we've talked a little bit about the systems and the infrastructure and the money change, but let's talk about the life change. What are some of those things that happened?
Gosh, there's so many. Well, I talked about the baby and the whole thing. So at the beginning of that, at the beginning of our relationship, life was kind of full steam ahead. I met my husband and we moved together quickly and got married or had our baby first, actually. And then I got married later, but we got pregnant and we're like, oh, okay, like life is here. Okay. And at that time we're a blended family, and he has 3 older kids and I have 1 from a previous as well. So altogether, we have 5 children altogether. So lots of mouths to feed. And at that time we were struggling. Like, part of what happened in my shifts, like I was trying to figure out how to organize the business, how to move things forward. So I wanted to make sure that, and this again goes behind the scenes before like I exposed all of it to Darnyelle, because at first I'm like, okay, no big deal. Like I want to grow the company. So I'm going to like not pay myself for a little while and do all this stuff with the company and hire people so I don't have to do X, Y, and Z. And so I pretty much like was surviving, like, I mean, 6-figure company, keep in mind, like multiple six figures at this time.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, you know, I like paycheck to paycheck with my husband and stressed and trying to figure out like where the next, you know, meal's going to come from. Like, what are we going to do for dinner? We were like, you made this post the other day. I started laughing because I told Chris, I'm like, do you remember that day? Like we didn't have time. We didn't have food for lunch and all the kids were at our house that weekend. So you went out and bought a pack of those ramen noodles and he made like a whole thing of ramen noodles because it was the cheapest, easiest thing for us with all the kids in the house.
Right.
And keep in mind, we have a baby and I have a full-time job. I mean, yes, I work from home a lot of the time, but I can't have a baby with me when I work from home most of the time. So we had childcare. So that's expensive for us to, you know, have to worry about childcare and do all this stuff. And again, you know, I'm forcing struggle on myself by not paying myself. And so, you know, just like that, the whole like recipe for disaster. And I'm like, I kind of as like a last like resort, I'm like, I'm going to do this for the business because I know something has to be different. Like I know not everybody is doing this to try to like move their business forward. So I'm going to invest in this because I know that it's going to be something that's going to change my business.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, like, thank God for you that you were honest and real, because I know that's not the case with a lot of other, you know, coaches and people don't have successes and things. And it's unfortunate because like I put my trust in you and it actually paid off, and us being able to like within, I don't know, maybe like again, when I finally told you everything,
Mm-hmm.
like when I finally kind of exposed, oh, by the way, like I don't have a paycheck, like, my paycheck was like, it was literally the last thing happening because I told you, like I had some people running the business at the time. And so it was like, okay, everybody gets paid. I'm not really like fully engaged in it. So no big deal, even though that's like not how business works, right? Like, you know, like
how business works, people. Don't try this at home.
Exactly. Do not follow my instructions. So I decided, all right, like I'm going to put like myself on payroll and I'm actually going to get paid properly. And that was scary. Like, it sounds weird, but like for me to be like, okay, I wanted like a fixed salary and not just take whatever's left over at the end of the money, which was not always anything, you know, depending on what was happening in the business. And so, you know, once things started to really like kind of settle into like, all right, like I'm going to get a paycheck. Like,
Right.
like life actually went, like Chris and I were like, oh, okay, like
Right.
there's money, like, and so at that time, my husband and I, like, we were dealing with a lot of stuff, right? We had the kids, we had the girl, we had just gotten together. He was a few years out of a divorce that put him into bankruptcy, and so he was in this recovery financially, like, and it was like a little bit of a recipe, like that was insane at the time. When I think about it now, it's like, oh my, how did we figure our way through that? But like with all of the like kind of the healing of the business, the awareness for me was clear that like, okay, this is an opportunity now for me to like really start to heal our finances and like make them like a clean slate for us to actually grow together. Because that was the part, I think that, you know, you come into a relationship, everybody has stuff from previous, especially so many of us that are in, you know, in second, you know, marriages, it makes it, or like, you know, second real relationships, you know, where you're living with a significant other, it makes it, you know, important for you to feel like there's something that's fresh and you don't have all these skeletons that are kind of like haunting you in your here and now with a new relationship. Yeah. And so, you know, it was a blessing for us to really start to motivate. So, you know, we went on this journey, like as a part of the healing of our finances, and we went on this debt-free journey. We're like, okay, like we're going to completely, because at that time when we were like, nothing was happening and whatever, we were like, oh, credit card, like whatever, swipe. And we racked up all this debt in like a matter of just a few months. And it was, sorry about that. It was insane. So, yeah, I mean, we really saw like the opportunity for us to like we started tapping into like some of those debt-free, like Dave Ramsey and stuff like that. And we're like, okay, like we're gonna not only just, improve just our business life and our professional lives, and we're actually going to see some improvement in our personal finances. And that in itself is like a huge testament, like, and a big like testimony for me, like as a person who has had this business for so long. You'd think that like you should have some sort of, you should have all your financial picture under control. But the reality is, I think we get stuck in this feeling of like obligation to the business, especially with me having a team. Like you start thinking about their needs and what you want to give them first. Like they deserve a raise, they deserve this. And then you forget, like, wait a minute, like I'm not only a key person in the business, but I am the business. So
it's the whole, like they say when we get on a plane, right? Secure your mask before helping those who are on the journey with you. But it is challenging when you are in your business by yourself and you feel alone to get the support that you need to realize that you deserve that your business should serve you, that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Like, and I hope you guys are seeing this. And part of the reason why I'm interviewing as many clients as I am is because everybody's story isn't the same. Mm-hmm. But the culmination of their work with me has been about not just getting their business right, but getting their life right. Because as I like to say, you cannot have a booming business if you have a busted life. It's so much more than just the business stuff, but deciding to come together and work on the business is what gives me the opportunity to look at the life and to be able to offer insight or guidance or coaching or whatever it might be that makes those life changes happen as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can tell you, Jasmine is a much happier woman. From the first woman I met was frantic, anxious, and on edge. Now she's like Zen. She's like yoga chill, right? In a multiple 6-figure, going on 7-figure business with a team that she can entrust. I mean, she now lives in one state and her team lives in another state. Like, I mean, things have really happened differently around how her business is run because of this. I mean, you talk about it. I shouldn't say it. You should say it.
Yeah. I mean, things are so different. I go back to those feelings. Like I went through, I didn't talk about this part, but about the big client, right? I went through a really challenging time with a client that was like, it was almost like, I was almost there with grabbing onto the things that, really embracing everything that I was learning from you and and really trying to use the support of the group that we had at IFU and I, pushed me out of my comfort zone to get in a relationship that I knew was going to do great things for our business. And it was very exciting. But then it was kind of like a reminder, almost, I guess, humbling, like in a sense where you're like, okay, so you think you're ready. Like, the universe, God was like, okay, like, here you go. Like, there's what you asked for. And the truth is that the financial piece was great. I think operationally, like we had a general direction, but truly like there was not enough of solid infrastructure to really withstand. And then really just like business savviness, stuff that like I spent a lot of time focused on really kind of like moving forward and correcting the financial side which was 100% necessary because it was a hot mess. So I'm honest, it was necessary, but I hadn't quite figured out everything else. And then also really super clarified. Like, I think I knew at that time at the beginning of the business, who our clients were and, what our messaging should have been and all of that. But we hadn't really fine-tuned it. And at this point in time when I met this, had this relationship that took off with this practice, it was very exciting. And, it really pushed our business out of its comfort zone, like as a whole. And I became a yes girl. Like I was like, they said they made demands of us and I yesed my way through it all. Sure. right on top of that, Rose. Like every single time I think of it, it reminds me of you know, the babysitter movie, the old one, you know, because she just would just say yes to everything, no idea what was happening, and that was kind of where I was. And
but then you learned that doesn't serve you and it doesn't serve your business, right? Like, see, sometimes I think we think getting a client that's going to pay us multiple six figures in Jasmine's place is like we've hit the big time. And we get so sidetracked by the revenue that's going to come in, that if we aren't in alignment, if we aren't clear and confident and courageous in who we are, we settle for the okie doke. And just because they're paying you well doesn't mean they can treat you any kind of way that they want. And that was some of the tough conversations that we had to have together in order to make sure that that relationship was going to be a win-win-win. And I think at the end of the day, when it was all said and done, we decided it was a let me let you go, because this is not serving me type of situation. But it opened up the space for you to be able to get other amazing clients who are open to paying you what you deserve to be paid and what you brought to the table. Which I think, again, business is not, it's a, what's the saying? It's a marathon, not a sprint, right? There are highs and lows, but the goal is to make sure that you have the support that you need to weather the highs and the lows, and to get the guidance that you need in order to make sure that at the end of the day, every single time, every single step, you're good. Because as the CEO, they're looking to you, they need you. You have to be in top form. Right. In every possible way. Right. What are some of the other transformational life and or business things that have kind of come out of us working together?
Gosh, I mean, even in my engagement with my team, I mean, I've always been plugged into like wanting to help them improve and the support and being supportive around them. But I mean, for sure, like I am a different person with them. I'm a different person with my family as a result of just me being, I don't know what if I should say, more mature, and it's like it's you.
I think you're more present because you're not stressed, you're not anxious, you're not in fear. Like you're completely confident and in control of what you can control, and that I mean, with 5 children, whether they're all there all of the time or not, but the 2 that are there 24/7. Like it's important that mom be fully present and to be able to give that gift to your children. I mean, your daughter is in her teens, and then Noah is, what is he, 5 now?
5, yep.
Yeah, like, I mean, so important that you are there and you are present, and that is a gift in and of itself. Like, definitely. I don't diminish that, but I'm pulling that out on purpose for those who are listening or watching, because it's not just about the money.
That's true.
It's about making your life better. It's about allowing you to have the memories and the time that's important for everything that's important to you. If you're not careful, your business will just become a job that you've created for yourself.
Yes.
And I mean, let's just be real. If we're about creating jobs for ourselves, we should go get a job. Because at least when we're done for the day at the job, we get to just go home and we don't have to think about it. Right. But if your business, like, you don't really get a break, but you're working like a super slave, and that's just not what it's all about. So
it's true.
They're listening right now and they're trying to figure out, should I, shouldn't I? What would be your advice to someone who's trying to decide if they should take the first step and have a conversation with me or a member of the team to see if we can be the right fit to take them to whatever their next and best level is in life and in business?
All right. I want to just say something about what you just said, because one of the things that you mentioned actually reminded. So truly, like, there's been something that I learned from you and the people that are involved in IFU that have already learned this in advance, which is that, like, self-care and, like, being, like, balanced in life is important. Because I'm not I don't know, I guess I am a type A personality, but I think, you know, go, but not ever thinking about, like, what do I need? What does Jasmine need? What do I need so that I can, like you said, be able to you know, cover the mask on myself first and then take care of my family, because you can't give anything to anybody else if you're empty, right? If you haven't taken time to really fill up your own cup. So that's been something that I've learned from you. Like, I still, like, I remember, like, first hearing about you talk about your schedule, like, you know, taking off to do self-care and then having, like, this, you know, devoted time each month when we started getting the schedules. And I'm like, I don't I was just kind of scratched through it because I'm like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do there. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do some work instead or something else or whatever. And then, eventually you get to burnout, like you said, and life really, you get to a point where you're like, is this really what I planned to do when I had a business? Like, when does it pay off? Like, do I really have to wait another 40 years till I retire from my own business or whatever? Like, what, because the reality is that, we're not in 20-year retirement. We want to get, up there. We're not doing the right things for ourselves and our business. We're going to be working till the end. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a really important thing, especially if you're feeling like a slave to your business. The opportunity is just it's incredible when you think about the way that someone can kind of help to push you out of that space where you're almost self-inflicting pain and unhappiness. It's you can see, Darnyelle can see very clearly, really, what's happening. And I say this all the time, that you ask the question, I ask the question to you, and you have the answer, you can be able to respond so quickly. It's oh, well, that's, this or whatever for messaging or for, it's well, it's always easier, I guess, from the outside, but you just happen to have a really amazing gift, really, that is, that's remarkable from, what I've seen other people, you go through this, you said earlier about being alone, right, in business. And that's the hardest part is even though I have a team, right? You might have a team around you and you're okay, I've got this, I'll just talk to them. They don't really get it. It's not going to make sense. So they may not be able to give you any real valuable feedback or direction, right. And where you want to head. And that's having somebody like you, it's been life-changing just for everything, in my business, out of my business, just to help me make decisions that are sound. I'm excited about what is happening with IPS and where we're going. And then with my other pet project that I'm going to be launching that I eventually am going to start working with you on, because I already know that I need Darnyelle from the beginning. So I got to get this right the first time. So yeah, I mean, I'd say just back to the original question that you asked. I mean, if you are in a space where you just aren't quite sure, either where your business is going, or perhaps, you're feeling just burnt out, just, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I've worked 15 hours in the last, day. What in the world? We have this timesheet and I'm I worked less time than my team. That's interesting. And I feel I can say that I've accomplished a bunch in my day, and I feel happy about what's going on in my business. And I know it's because of the work that I've done with you, Darnyelle, and to work on my business more, less spending all this time in my business and feeling, like you said, a slave to my business. Because 100%, when I came back to the business, I was okay, I'm just going to do what I do. And I was a medical biller before when I launched it. And so I'm just going to be a biller versus really running my business and choosing to do the right things that I knew were going to move my business forward. Right. So, that's going to be a starting point for you. If you're feeling like you don't know either where your business is going, or you're feeling like you are at a crossroads where you're trying to decide to go back to work because you're feeling burnt out by what's happening in your business, really think about working with someone like Darnyelle. It's going to completely change your life. Between working with her and having a group of people that I'm sure you're learning about the clients on the podcast, but she's an amazing group of clients. They're phenomenal. They really are. The women, yeah, the women and men are just they inspire you. Every single time I go, you get energized by when we go to retreats and stuff, you get energized by the people that you're just around, the way that you're able to have these exchange of ideas. We're all from different industries, but we're able to really come together and really add value to each other's businesses. And we see things from different angles that help us to get clarity around our business and life. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, awesome. Well, there you have it, folks. I hope you got there were a lot of powerful nuggets in the things that Jasmine said, and I tried to pull on them to make sure that you caught them. But if as you listened, you're maybe I should, then I highly recommend that you do. Listen, it doesn't cost anything at all to have a conversation, but the conversation itself, even if we aren't the right fit to go to the next level together, will give you some great ideas about what you need to look for in order to be able to get there with someone else, right? And if you want to have that conversation, again, we welcome it. You can start the process by going to darnyelle.com/session. Again, that's darnyelle.com/session. Until I see you again, because I'm going to be interviewing lots more clients about their experience and what it's been like, so that you can get some amazing nuggets that will continue to help you to build a business that serves you financially and spiritually. So until I see you again, be better, be stronger, and more than anything, be incredible. I love you guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.